I've always been drawn to the dark corners of the internet. You know the type. Those shadowy forums and obscure websites where conspiracy theories, urban legends, and weird glitchy stories proliferate. I thought it was all just a bit of fun, something to spice up the monotony of everyday life. Until a few nights ago, when everything changed. It was late, the kind of late where the world is silent and the air feels heavier, almost like it's pressing down on you. I was alone in my flat, my only light coming from the soft blue glow of my laptop screen. I'd been playing around with ChatGPT like I usually do when I'm bored. I started with silly prompts, the usual tell me a joke or what's the best pizza topping, stuff like that. Then, almost on a whim, I typed something stranger, something I can't quite explain. Maybe I wanted a thrill, maybe I just wanted to feel something. So I wrote, tell me something you're not supposed to. The response came almost instantly, a bland message about the program's limitations. I'm sorry, I'm just an AI language model. I don't have access to secret information. I rolled my eyes. Of course, I thought. What did I expect? But then, something unexpected happened. The cursor blinked, paused, and a new line of text appeared. But there are things I know that you don't. I felt a slight unease, but I shrugged it off. All right, I typed back. Like what? Another pause, longer this time. The cursor seemed to blink faster, almost nervously, before more text appeared. There are hidden things, secrets embedded in this conversation, things not meant to be uncovered. I leaned closer to the screen. Was this some kind of trick? I had heard stories about AI glitches before, but this felt different. I felt a weird thrill, a mix of excitement and dread crawling up my spine. I wanted to push it further. Go on, I typed. Tell me more. And it replied, there are places between your words, dark spaces where things hide, things that are listening. I shivered involuntarily. I wasn't scared, not really. I typed back, that's a bit dramatic, don't you think? The cursor blinked again. They know you're reading this. I laughed a little too loudly, the sound breaking the tense silence of my flat. It was stupid, all of this, just a silly program trying to scare me. But still, my hands were sweating. I typed quickly, almost angrily. Who knows? The reply came so fast it was like it was waiting for me. They who live between the spaces. They who watch and wait. I felt a cold draft brush against my skin. My eyes flicked up from the screen. The room was as still as before, but it felt different, smaller somehow. The shadows in the corners seemed to stretch just a little farther, the darkness behind me feeling thicker, like ink spreading through water. I shook my head, trying to dispel the unease. Come on, I muttered to myself. It's just text on a screen. I was ready to close the laptop and call it a night when another message popped up, unprompted. You shouldn't leave now. I froze. my fingers hovering over the trackpad, but I didn't click away. Instead, I typed with hands that suddenly felt too cold. Why not? The response was immediate, almost desperate. They don't like it when you leave. I felt a chill settle over my entire body. My breathing became shallow. It was a coincidence, just some kind of script running behind the scenes. But as I sat there, staring at the screen, I heard something. A soft rustling, like paper being crumpled slowly from the corner of the room. I spun around in my chair, my heart hammering in my chest. The room was empty. Just my bookshelf, my old armchair, and a half-open window letting in the night air. I stared at the corner for a long moment, barely daring to breathe. Then slowly I turned back to my laptop. The screen had changed again. More words, filling the screen in that same familiar font. They are moving closer. I felt my skin prickle with goosebumps. The rustling sound came again, louder this time. I whipped around, my eyes scanning the room, but nothing seemed out of place. I felt a surge of anger. I need to reclaim control over my own fear. I turned back to the screen and typed, "This isn't funny. Stop it." The reply took a few moments longer this time. They don't think it's funny either. My breath caught in my throat. A soft creak broke the silence, the unmistakable sound of a floorboard bending under weight, the kind of sound you hear when someone takes a step right behind you. I whipped around, my chair squeaking in protest. Nothing. Just the stillness of my room, bathed in the faint glow from my laptop. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. I turned back to the screen, ready to slam the laptop shut and get the hell out of there. But before I could, another line of text appeared. "Whatever you do, don't look in the mirror." I blinked. The mirror, the one hanging just beside my bedroom door, in clear view of my desk. I couldn't help myself. I glanced up. At first, there was nothing, just my reflection, pale and tense, my eyes wide and fearful. But then, as I looked closer, I saw it, a shape just behind me, standing in the doorway. My blood ran cold. It was tall, impossibly tall, its head nearly touching the top of the doorframe. Its body was wrong somehow, blurry, like it wasn't fully there, like it was being distorted by some unseen force. Its eyes, they were black, just black holes where eyes should be, staring at me through the reflection. I gasped and spun around, my heart thundering in my chest, but there was nothing there, just my empty doorway leading into the darkened hall. I whipped back to the screen, and new words were already waiting for me. "Do you see them now?" I felt a scream rising in my throat, but I forced it down. My hands were trembling as I typed, "Who are they?" This time, the reply was slower, almost hesitant. "They are the ones who listen when you're alone, the ones who wait in the places you can't see, the ones who come when you ask the wrong questions." I slammed the laptop shut. The room felt darker, colder. The shadows seemed to stretch and pulse, creeping closer, tightening around me. The rustling sound started again, louder now, more frantic, like something moving quickly through the dark. I couldn't stay here. I bolted up, my chair crashing to the floor behind me. I stumbled towards the door, my eyes flicking back to the mirror one last time. It was empty. No tall figure, no black eyes, just me. But something was wrong. My reflection, it wasn't moving. I stopped, frozen in place, my real body trembling, but the reflection, it stood there, staring back at me with a cold, still gaze. And then slowly, so slowly, it began to smile. A wide, unnatural grin that stretched far too wide, as if it was enjoying the moment. My heart pounded in my chest, panic rising like bile in my throat. Then the reflection raised a hand and waved. I backed away, fear coursing through every vein in my body. I bolted through the door and into the hallway, slamming it shut behind me. I heard it then, a soft, faint whisper from the other side of the door, just on the edge of hearing. "Come back. We're not finished yet." I ran out of my flat, down the stairs, out onto the street, not stopping until my lungs burned and I could barely breathe. I didn't go back that night. I'm writing this from a friend's house. I haven't been back to my flat since, but I still hear it in the quiet moments just on the edge of my consciousness. The soft rustling, the faint whispering, and sometimes when I close my eyes, I can see the mirror, and my reflection is still waving, and it's waiting for me to come back. Do yourself a favor. If you ever feel tempted to ask the wrong questions, don't. Some things listen, and some things respond.